This podcast is brought to you by Crafted Arts and Veil Jewelry Workshop.
I discovered your father on. I think you're gonna know where this is going, right?
Oh yeah.
Parkinson,
Ah.
Buddy Rich, your father, Kenny Everett, and then Sammy Davis Jr. comes out. And for some reason, I don't know why, but I was just in a trance. I was like, what am I watching? Where has this been all my life?
Right, yeah.
It was just the fact that, your dad. And the one thing, I just loved your dad in it because it was such a natural. He was like, oh, here we go. Yes, here we go. It's such a natural thing for someone to be so excited. It's like, yeah, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And then he starts singing and then tap dancing and then Buddy Rich is joining and Sammy Davis. And I'm thinking, this is television gold.
Yeah.
And of all the things, Michael Parkinson, who's interviewed like Muhammad Ali and Peter Ustinov and all the big names, I still feel like that's one of the top moments in Parkinson because the way it just came out. And I just wanted to know from your perspective, obviously as his son, was that, do you get many people telling you about that moment, or when you look back at that moment, do you just sit there and go, that's my dad?
Well, it's amazing. Recently it resurfaced on Twitter, and my dad was trending on Twitter, which he would have found hilarious. He wouldn't know obviously what that meant. But yeah, it was kind of mad, and then lots of lovely messages from people, with stories about him. But I remember when he recorded that, and my sister was lucky enough to go along, and I remember I think that was about 1981 or something like. I might be out by a year or two, but I would have only been 7 or 8, something like that. And at the time, I was way more impressed that he was on the same stage as Buddy Rich. But yeah, looking back on it, it's an amazing bit. So Dad was basically told to stall for time because it was in the days when it was recorded live, and so they knew that Sammy Davis was coming to surprise Buddy, and they said to Dad, could you distract Buddy whilst Sammy arrives, because he was running late. So he was calling them saying, sorry, I'm running late, and it was before mobile phones or anything like that. So Dad had this idea, just kind of instinctively, for Buddy to play the drums on his hands with a bit of spare change in there, and it sort of launched into this bit of a routine. Yeah, it was an absolute TV gold moment, and it was a huge thing for Dad. He was already friends with Buddy Rich and Sammy Davis, but he was completely in awe of them. And it was in the days when Michael Parkinson was a live TV show. So in towards the end of the show, it was pre-recorded in the same week, but then put out later. And everyone seemed to be really involved. And then obviously the iconic moment when Sammy Davis coolly walks down the stairs and Buddy notices him, and then they do a routine, all three of them. So yeah, it was brilliant to see it resurface recently.
Thank you guys for tuning in to the Creative Space Podcast channel. Make sure you like, share and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified for more content in the future. Thank you once again.